There are a number of factors that cause the closure of civic space. Principal among these are a decline in democratic values and the emergence of authoritarian political parties and leaders who are intolerant of dissent by publics, the political opposition, civil society, the media, and others. Political polarization in societies is caused by proponents of extremist ideologies who seek to quash diversity and attack those who promote gender, economic, social, and environmental justice. Another factor that causes closure of civic space is inequalities caused by the skewed economic discourse, which leads to concentration of wealth and high levels of corruption among elites around the world. These people oftentimes attack those groups, particularly among civil society, who seek to expose wrongdoing and shine a spotlight on high level corruption. Conflict and political instability also lead to closure of civic space because inevitably democratic institutions, rule of law institutions that provide the scaffolding for civic space are eroded in situations of political instability and conflict. Multilateralism, too, is extremely important to defend civic space. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are seeing many challenges in the multilateral arena where states are asserting powerful interests and seeking to undermine the rules-based international order which defends civic space, which defends internationally agreed human rights and freedoms around the world. At Civicus, we take three fundamental freedoms to be absolutely essential and critical to civic space. These are the freedoms of peaceful assembly, association, and expression. They are part of customary international law, and they are also part of national constitutions of most countries. Now, there are many indicators of closures of civic space, but some of them illustratively are divisive hate speech by political leaders, politicization of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary, introduction of laws that reduce the independence of NGOs and civil society organizations, introduction of laws that prevent people from organizing and mobilizing on the streets, and raids on civil society organizations and media outlets. These are compelling indicators that civic space in a country is declining.
When we talk about civic space, we're referring to the enabling environment that allows individuals and organizations to operate freely. It implies their ability to engage with economic, political, and social processes without any hindrance, and therefore allows them to fulfill their true potential as civil society, which includes representing the needs and priorities of the most excluded communities, monitoring and reviewing how programs and budgets are being implemented, and providing the feedback that governments so actively need in order to ensure that their interventions are truly responsive. And finally, also holding both government representatives and the larger structures that determine policies and laws accountable to serving the needs of the greater public. It is in being able to do these functions freely and effectively that all of society benefits.
So first of all, as civil society, we can participate in public mobilization that expose systems of repression. Then secondly, we can publicly condemn the brutal arrests and use of excessive force by security organs in response to protests. That way we shall be able to reclaim the civic space that has continued to shrink over the years as witnessed in several countries.
Civic space can be reclaimed when members of society start or join a group that can mobilize a community for an important cause. An example of this is Fridays for Future. Another way civic space can be reclaimed is by exercising your civic duty and voting in elections, particularly local elections, as this is where you can vote for the right candidate to represent you at national or federal level.
Exercise your civic duty by joining a protest for a cause that you care about, even if it means joining virtually, by using hashtags such as hashtag Black Lives Matter or hashtag Fees Must Fall. Support independent media outlets that are investigating corruption and holding your government leaders to account by sharing their unbiased and transparent content.